Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. Follow the show on Twitter and Blue Sky at Cup of Joe Pod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. And folks, back here again and have to do a little bit of sending out a lot of condolences, just the way things have worked out and recording schedules and whatnot. But first of all, my sincerest condolences on the loss of Barry Blaustein, famed director and writer, and director of Beyond the Mat is what I best knew him as, passed away, as well as famed wrestling guy from the 70s and 80s, Phil Hickerson, from the Bicentennial Kings tag team with Dennis Condrey, I first came across him studying some Memphis footage and a classic confrontation he had with the Blade Runners, who later would become the Ultimate Warrior and Sting, to his time as P.Y. Chuhai in that famous feud against Eric Embry, World Class versus the USWA, and also the loss of Kyle Busch this past week, famed NASCAR driver, big wrestling fan, and former 24/7 WWE champion. And then recently, just in the past day or so, learning of the passing of Golden Boy Jerry Gray. I first got to know of him through the 605 Super podcast. So our thoughts and prayers and condolences to their friends and fans and family, to all of those men who passed away. Today we take a look at Extreme Rules 2009 from the WWE. Extreme Rules 2009 was shown on pay-per-view on June the 7th, 2009 from New Orleans Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana. There were 9,124 in attendance, and the show did 213,000 buys. We start out with our intro. Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler welcome us to Extreme Rules as we start with a fatal four-way for the United States Championship. Kofi Kingston versus William Regal versus Matt Hardy versus MVP. Kingston is the current champion, having beaten MVP on the previous Raw. The belt is presented, the bell rings. All four are tentative. They all attack each other. Kingston takes on Regal and Hardy drags MVP out of the ring. MVP and Kingston collide in the ring. Kingston with a back elbow. Regal knocks MVP down and beats on Kingston in the corner. Regal with a superplex on Kingston and MVP pulls both down. Multiple 2 counts for Hardy's. He hits a side effect on Regal for another 2 count. Hardy with a second rope leg drop to MVP for a 2 count. Kingston comes back. He unloads on Hardy. He gets a 2 count. Regal grabs Kingston and suplexes him into Hardy. He tries to pin Hardy, but Kingston breaks up the cover and MVP attacks Regal. MVP with an overhead belly-to-belly to Kingston, and Hardy breaks up the pin. MVP and Hardy trade blows. He drops an elbow on Hardy. Regal attacks MVP. Regal attacks everyone else. Kingston hits Trouble in Paradise on Regal to get the pin and retain the U.S. title. Kingston celebrates. Earlier today, Josh Matthews caught up with The Big Show. He says it's impossible for John Cena to put the STF on him, and tonight he is going to embarrass John Cena. Jim Ross and Todd Grisham preview the next match. They flash back to what led to it. Intercontinental Championship match. Rey Mysterio versus Chris Jericho. Jericho is announced, but he is at the souvenir stand putting down Mysterio and the fans. He makes his way down to the ring through the fans. Mysterio out to a great ovation. The bell rings and Mysterio unloads on Jericho. It goes outside and Mysterio keeps up the attack. Jericho tries to come back, but Mysterio drop kicks the ring steps into Jericho. He runs Jericho into the barricade and then Hurricane Rana's Jericho into the ring apron. Back in, he hits a leg drop and gets a 2 count. Jericho comes back and dumps Mysterio on the ropes. He catapults Mysterio into the bottom rope for a 2 count. He chokes Mysterio with his boot in the corner. Mysterio goes up top and Jericho pushes him off to the outside. Jericho goes for a springboard and Mysterio catches him with a drop kick. Mysterio with a suicide dive to Jericho after a corner 619. He hits a leg drop for a 2 count. Jericho avoids another 619 with a shoulder block. Mysterio attacks Jericho with kicks. They trade roll-ups and covers. They then trade holds and covers. Mysterio with a kick and a quick 2 count. Jericho back and gets a 2 count of his own. Jericho throws Mysterio out. Jericho follows and knocks Mysterio into the SmackDown table. He face first suplexes Mysterio on the floor to get a 2 count. Jericho goes for the mask, but Mysterio kicks him away. Mysterio moves on a Jericho corner charge. Jericho falls outside, and Mysterio with a thrilling suicide dive onto Jericho. Mysterio with a barrage of offense. He gets a 2 count. Jericho counters a 619 attempt and gets a backbreaker for a 2 count. Jericho misses a lion salt, and Mysterio hits the 619. He goes for the West Coast pop, but Jericho gets the code breaker. He gets a close 2 count. Jericho goes outside and grabs a chair. Mysterio drop kicks Jericho into it for a close 2 count. Mysterio sentons Jericho with the chair for another 2 count. Mysterio drop toe holds Jericho onto the chair. Jericho comes back with the walls of Jericho, and Mysterio grabs the chair. He hits Jericho with it. Mysterio goes for the 619, but Jericho grabs his mask and it comes off. Mysterio covers up, allowing Jericho to get the pin and become the new Intercontinental Champion. Jericho taunts Mysterio with the title and the mask. Josh Matthews interviews Batista. They show what Randy Orton did to Ric Flair on Raw. Batista tells Orton it's one thing to take him out for months. It's different when he does it to Flair. He says tonight is only the beginning. He says he's going to take everything from Orton and wipe out his entire legacy. Samoan strap match. Umaga versus CM Punk. Umaga out first. Punk out to a fantastic ovation. They flash back to what brought us to the match. They get strapped up and the bell rings. They trade blows. Umaga knocks Punk down. He gets 2 buckles. Punk comes back and gets 2 buckles. Umaga hits a Samoan drop. He straps Punk with the strap several times. He drags Punk to a corner and tries to rip the shoulder out of its socket. He slams the arm down on the steps several times. Umaga drops Punk on the ropes and kicks Punk to the outside. Punk comes back with a springboard clothesline. Umaga counters a GTS attempt with a heel kick. Punk avoids the corner charge and crotches Umaga with the strap. Umaga falls to the outside and Punk pulls him into a ring post and then bulldogs Umaga after a running knee. Punk gets 3 buckles. Umaga comes back with a side slam. Umaga gets 3 buckles. Umaga charges Punk, who ducks and grabs the ropes, and Umaga falls to the outside. Punk gets 3 buckles again. Umaga goes up top, but gets caught and pulled off by the strap. Punk gets 3 buckles, hits Umaga with the GTS, and hits the last buckle to get the win. Matt Striker and Josh Matthews discuss the ECW Championship Triple Threat coming up. Gregory Helms interviews Christian. He talks about Tommy Dreamer being in the match. He says the title is more important than his friendship with Tommy Dreamer. Dreamer comes up and says after this match, Christian won't be the champion. Swagger comes in, and both Christian and Dreamer leave. ECW Championship Triple Threat match. Christian versus Tommy Dreamer versus Jack Swagger. Christian comes out first. Dreamer out next. He says he will walk away from ECW if he does not win. Swagger comes out looking very confident. The introductions are made and the belt is presented. The bell rings. Christian with the early advantage. Swagger comes on and suplexes Dreamer. Dreamer grabs a kendo stick and Christian grabs a trash can lid. Christian gets the other 2 down with the lid. Dreamer comes back and suplexes Christian with the stick. Swagger grabs the lid and goes after Dreamer, who backdrops Swagger out. Dreamer grabs the trash can and cannonballs onto Swagger and Christian from the apron. Dreamer puts Swagger in the Tree of Woe. He places a trash can in front, but gets hit by Christian, who drop kicks the can into Swagger. Christian gets a 2 count on Dreamer. Dreamer falls outside while Swagger hits Christian with the stick for a 2 count. Swagger hits Christian with the gutbuster and gets a 2 count. Swagger takes a turnbuckle pad off, but gets hit with the stick by Dreamer, and Christian hits a death drop on Swagger. He gets a 2 count. Dreamer hits Christian with the lid. They each get big moves all over the ring. Dreamer throws multiple weapons into the ring. Swagger and Dreamer trade blows. Swagger hits Dreamer with a trash can, but Christian slams both off the turnbuckles. He gets a 2 count on both. Swagger and Christian exchange moves and counters. Swagger runs Christian into the exposed buckle. Dreamer hits both with the crutch. He DDTs Swagger to get the pin and become the new ECW champion. The fans give Dreamer a standing ovation as he holds the ECW championship tight. He goes out and celebrates with the fans. Vicky Guerrero is shown in the back training with Chavo Jr. Jerry Lawler previews the hog pin match. Mr. WrestleMania hog pin match. Vicky Guerrero with Chavo Jr. versus Santina Marella. Santina out first and queasy about getting in the pin. The crowd hates Vicky when she comes out. She says this is a handicap match and Chavo is going to join her. He doesn't want to, but she makes him. Santina throws mud at Chavo, who attacks Santina. Santina backdrops Chavo. They throw slop on each other. Santina throws Chavo in with the picks and then gets a 2 count. Chavo drives Santina's face into the mud. Vicky is tagged in. Santina goes to throw slop on Vicky but gets jumped from behind by Chavo. He goes to slop Santina, who ducks, and Vicky gets slopped instead. Santina puts a pail on Chavo and hits him and then pushes Vicky down and pins her to be Miss WrestleMania once again. Vicky and Chavo argue in the pin and both fall. Vicky and Chavo are shown in the back. They get interrupted by Goldust and Hornswoggle. They then run into Edge. He says he was preparing for his match. Vicky says he will face Jeff Hardy all alone. He says he made her and she was nothing without him. He says she should get a good divorce attorney because tonight it all ends. Flashback to what led to the next match. WWE Championship Steel Cage match. Randy Orton versus Batista. Orton comes out first. Batista out to a massive ovation. The introductions are made and the belt is presented. The bell rings and Orton starts climbing right away. Batista grabs him. They battle on the top. Batista holding on as Orton tries to get out. Batista slams Orton down. Batista beats Orton down in the corner. Orton speared into the cage but able to avoid a second one and Batista is slammed into the cage. Orton again tries to escape, but Batista grabs him again. Batista suplexes Orton and gets a 2 count. Orton kicks Batista and tries to escape through the door, but Batista catches him. Batista with a pair of corner clotheslines. Orton comes back with a backbreaker. He almost gets out of the door. Batista hits a power slam to get a 2 count. Orton comes back with shots to Batista in the corner. He stomps Batista. Batista comes back with a spine buster. Orton backdrops out of a Batista bomb attempt and Batista lands between the ropes and the cage. Orton hits him with a standing drop kick. Orton starts to climb the cage but stops and goes to pump Batista, who moves out of the way. Orton tries to climb. Batista tries to go for the Batista bomb but Orton holds on. He goes to RKO Batista, pushes off and hits the Batista bomb to get the pin and become the new WWE Champion. John Cena is shown in the back, and then they show a feature on Cena and the Big Show and what led to their match at Extreme Rules. Submission match, John Cena versus the Big Show. Big Show comes out first, Cena out to a tremendous ovation. He looks determined. The bell rings. Cena with a stick and a move strategy. Big Show catches him and clotheslines him down. Big Show goes for a camel clutch, but Cena reverses it and tries to go for the STF but can't get it on. Cena is frustrated. Cena with some shots to Big Show, who comes back with a boot to knock Cena down. Big Show with the corner splash to Cena. Cena goes for a bulldog and Big Show just pushes him off and Cena goes flying outside. Cena gets back in. Big Show goes to tie Cena up in the ropes and Cena fights back. He gets knocked down going for a shoulder block. He tells Cena that he is going to break him. Big Show with a full Nelson. Cena breaks it but gets headbutted down by Big Show. Cena gets a foot up on a corner charge and puts a sleeper on Big Show. Big Show gets to the ropes. Cena gets it back on, and Big Show goes down to one knee. Big Show gets out and tries to go for a powerbomb, but Cena overcorrected and they both go down. Big Show drops down on Cena's ribs. They trade blows, and Cena goes down again. Big Show with a giant suplex. He stands on Cena's ribs. He chokes Cena on the second rope. He steps on Cena again. Cena moves on a Vader bomb attempt. Cena goes for the AA, but Big Show falls on him and puts on a modified bear hug. Cena up and blocks a choke slam. Big Show knocks Cena outside. Big Show follows. He picks Cena up and runs him chest first into the ring post to continue to put damage on the ribs. He throws Cena in and puts an abdominal stretch on again. Cena powers out. He DDTs Big Show. He tries for the STF again and Big Show kicks him off. Big Show picks Cena up by the head. Cena fights him off and goes up top, but gets caught by Big Show in a bear hug as he comes off. Cena starts to fade. He tries to get out and comes back with a running neck breaker. You can't see me. 5-knuckle shuffle. He avoids the choke slam attempt and hits the AA. He rolls Big Show over, but Big Show elbows Cena off. Big Show knocks Cena out with a punch. Big Show follows Cena out. He goes to run Cena into a post, but Cena fights off and Big Show gets run into the post instead. Cena hits a top rope leg drop. He ties Big Show's leg up in the ropes and gets the STF on. Big Show finally taps and Cena wins. Todd Grisham and JR talk about the SmackDown main event. Ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Edge versus Jeff Hardy. Flashback on the history between the two men and what led to the match. Edge comes out first. He gets to the ring and a Hardy chant goes out. Hardy gets a massive ovation when he comes out. Neither man has ever lost at Extreme Rules, so this should be interesting. The introductions are made. The bell rings and they lock up. Hardy with the corner clothesline. Hardy with the early advantage. Edge comes back with a corner charge. Hardy with a face-first suplex. Hardy grabs a ladder, but Edge baseball slides the ladder into Hardy. Edge goes out after Hardy and they exchange blows. Hardy with forearms to Edge and drops Edge on the ladder at ringside. Hardy sets the ladder up, but Edge pulls him off the ladder. Edge with a modified flapjack into the setup ladder, and that looked ugly. Edge puts the ladder into the corner. He whips Hardy into the ladder. He sets the ladder in another corner. He goes to spear Hardy into the ladder, but Hardy moves and Edge hits the ladder instead. Hardy with the double legs to Edge in the corner. He slams Edge into the ladder and goes for a corner splash, but Edge moves and Hardy crashes into the ladder, which falls on him. Edge puts Hardy in the ladder and slams Hardy into it. He then puts Hardy in the sharpshooter. Hardy taps, but it doesn't do any good in this match. A Hardy chant goes out. Edge climbs the ladder, but Hardy drop kicks the ladder, and they both fall to the mat. Hardy sets the ladder upside down and does a face-first suplex to Edge onto it. Hardy goes out and grabs another ladder. He sets it up and hits the twist of fate on Edge. He climbs the ladder. He jumps and hangs from the belt. Edge grabs him before he can unhook it and drags Hardy down. Edge corner whipped into the setup ladder. Hardy with the whisper in the wind to Edge off of the ladder. They both fall out to the floor after a Hardy clothesline. Hardy throws the ladder on Edge at ringside. Edge whips Hardy into the ring steps and then into the barricade. He grabs the steps, but Hardy hits them into Edge. Hardy guillotines Edge on the barricade. Hardy sets up a ladder horizontally between the barricade and the ring apron. He sets Edge on the ladder. He sets up another ladder and Edge gets off the first one and climbs the other side of the second ladder. They exchange blows. The ladder tips and they crash onto the first ladder. A holy shit chant goes out. Referees are over to check on both wrestlers. Both get in the ring. Hardy pushes Edge onto a referee. Hardy climbs and reaches for the belt. Edge goes to spear Hardy off the ladder and Hardy turns it into a twist of fate in midair. They both climb a ladder. Edge knocks Hardy off. Hardy pulls Edge between the rungs of the ladder. Hardy climbs and grabs the belt to win and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Hardy holds the belt high and celebrates. JR gets in to interview Hardy, but CM Punk's music hits and he cashes in his Money in the Bank contract. The bell rings and Punk hits the GTS and covers Hardy and gets a 2 count. Punk and the crowd are both stunned. Hardy with an inside cradle for a 2 count. Punk with a second GTS to get the pin and become the World Heavyweight Champion. He raises the belt high. The crowd is stunned. They replay some highlights of the match and then sign off from New Orleans. Final thoughts. A great show with a tremendous ending. You can follow me on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram at @TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show and don't forget to hit subscribe. And of course, patreon.com/BabyKangarooMedia for bonus episodes of The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, The Joey Harris Super Show, The Green Room, The Book Club Baristas, and so much more. Just $5 a month for hours of extra content. You can support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am on Cash App and Venmo at @TheJoeyHarris. If you would just like to send me a couple of bucks that way, I would appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia. We'll talk to you next time.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.